Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to another reaction video illustrating the new techniques and subtle deception that the Christians are trying to use to deceive the Muslims, the unwary Muslims, of course, and create doubts within the Muslim mind. So first I will play a clip from these missionaries from a live stream yesterday, and then tell you about what they're actually arguing there, and then inshallah show you the actual reality of the things. Personally, I felt this a very low level polemics, if not outright deception based on their bigotry. But inshallah we'll find out, and there's some messages I want to give to our Christian brothers and sisters in humanity, as well as our Muslim brothers who tend to go to these channels to consume their material or even engage with them. So let's play the clip first, inshallah ta'ala.
I don't mind whatever page it's
Or should we get someone from the audience? Yes. No, the good-looking brother, please. Yeah. no, I said the good-looking brother. Yeah, any page, because then Sheikh Ahmed's going to tell us. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Every time where there's a difference, it is highlighted in the hawamish, and this is the hawamish in the margins.
Yes. Because the disbelievers are going to say you're trying to get away from it just by talking. You know, they're listening to this right now.
I'll start the whole ayah, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah, inshallah. So how would that
Shu'ba
sound?
recites وَرُضْوَانَ as opposed to وَرِضْوَانَ. This particular example has zero impact on the meaning it's not changing who's doing what, whether the verb is passive or active, because it's a noun. It's purely dialectical.
Of course, anytime Dawah Gangs reads an Arabic source, we suspect deception. The verse he was referring to here was Surah 5 verse 2. The word he chose to look at came in the phrase that says, seeking bounty from their Lord and His pleasure. He reassured his audience that the difference he saw does not change the meaning and does not affect who's doing what. But the word he chose was ridwana, meaning good pleasure. The word he chose was a noun. So how would it affect who's doing what? For that you have to go to the verb in the sentence. To go to the noun to reassure somebody that it doesn't affect the action in the sentence is at the very least stupid and at the most deceptive. The verb here in the sentence is seeking, in the Arabic yabtaghun. We went to check out the qira'at differences for that verb, and the differences that we saw did indeed change the meaning and changed who's speaking to whom. Here in Mu'jam al-Qira'at by Dr. Abdul Latif al-Khatib, Volume 2, page 217, it says that the majority reading was yabtaghun, meaning they seek, but Hamid ibn Qais and Al-A'raj read it as tabtaghun, you seek. It does indeed change the pronouns and who's speaking to whom.
This particular example has zero impact on the meaning it's not changing who's doing what, whether the verb is passive or active, because it's a noun. It's purely dialectical.
Why would the learned sheikh choose out of the sentence he read the word with the least significant difference? Why would he choose the noun and not the verb when the latter has the most significant change to the meaning? Did he on purpose ignore the word that he knew affected the meaning the most in that sentence and that he himself could see in the book that he was reading? By his own admission, the difference we discovered in the same sentence, in the same verse, the one he ignored, is significant, since it does, by his own criteria, change the meaning and change who's speaking to whom. Deception confirmed. Hate how he said, oh look, it doesn't change the meaning and it doesn't change who's doing what, when he knew he could see the verb in the sentence changes who's doing what. It's like, it makes you want to tear your hair out. He could see it. He read it.
And did I notice that correctly? He was
This is
wearing
biblical text.
Yeah, so he's wearing glasses. So you would expect, like, when you got glasses, so your eyesights are probably a little bit better. Therefore, like, you wouldn't make such a mistakes unless you are there intentionally.
But the fact that he said that, it's like his subconscious mind could see that it changed the meaning and it changed who said what, who's doing what. So he picks another word and says, it doesn't change the meaning or who's doing what. But it's all the same sentence and he could see it. It's like, I couldn't believe when I checked it. oh wow, he's lying directly and he could see it. Because it's color coded in his book. And we've got that book.
Yeah, he says every time when you see there is a difference, there is a color code, you can see it.
You'd have
So, the argument is our brother Muhammad Hijab was discussing the issues of the preservation of the Quran with Sheikh Ahmed. MashaAllah, may Allah bless him. I had opportunity to learn from him too. And apparently, from what they're arguing is this, when Brother Muhammad Hijab was showing this book and say, like, pick up any pages from there, and an audience member pick up, and the Sheikh, instead of giving the example of where there are differences within the ayah, he picked up a few examples and just ignored the rest deliberately, and this is a deception, because with the examples picked up with this daughters of Shaitan, or whatever her real name is, she is saying that because the Sheikh confirms, and they also have a book, the same book they have, and she's seen it herself, it's color coded. Instead of using the color coded example, which shows some differences, the Sheikh is hiding all of that and saying actually there isn't any difference on that matter, and only picked up two examples of Ridwan or Ridwan and Shana'an or Shana'an. So that's the argument, showing that Muslim scholarship, sheikhs, they don't have any integrity whatsoever. They would lie in front of the Muslims to somehow, convince that the Quran is preserved. But is this the case? So now let's look at the actual clip where they got this from, and then I'll have a point to make, inshallah, about these three individuals that were making this video live stream yesterday. So let's go back. So this is from the actual video from Muhammad Hijab's channel, the relevant bits.
voluminous or encyclopedic works. But I got myself a copy of this book, which is actually all of the 10 qira'at in this.
So this is the book he's reading, and he says this has the 10 qira'at. Remember, this is a book about 10 qira'at, and the Sheikh's going to read it from there.
Nice book here. It's got all of the, it doesn't look encyclopedic to me, does it?
Well, I'm very glad that you mentioned this, because once again, the Murawijun, those who like to make a big fuss out of nothing and attack Islam with any sort of strawman argument, say what there are. I mean, I've heard up to 1,000 Qur'ans or something ridiculous like that. Oh, there are 23 Qur'ans that you have. There are this number of Qur'ans that you have. So in one book, every single possible wedge is exactly the same mushaf that you have if you open, but every time there's a difference, it's mentioned.
So can we do a little demonstration?
تفضل يا أخي.
We'll do this at random, okay? Okay, can you choose a page?
What you
Just
choose? طيب.
because it might look like it's pre-planned. I said random, and then
طيب, I don't mind whatever page is.
Or should we get someone from the audience?
Go ahead. تفضل if you
Yeah?
wanna go.
Brother, you look very eager. Come up here. No, you, no, not you. Yes, no, the good-looking brother, please. Yeah. No, I said the good-looking brother. I do that joke everywhere I go. Yeah, just choose a page, inshallah, and then, yeah, any page, because then Sheikh Ahmed's gonna tell us. Yes, thank you. Yes.
جزاك الله خير.
I'll give you the money later. Yeah. Tell us what's going on here. What's this? Is it a beginning of a surah?
So it's the beginning of Surah Al-Ma'idah.
Okay.
Thank you for choosing an easy section.
So he's choosing Surah Al-Ma'idah, a beginning. So he's going to choose an example from there.
Everything is easy for you, brother. You remember the Quran in 1 year, yeah? And it was meant to be a competition, by the way. The brothers came together. They said, we're going to compete. So you memorized it first. So I don't think anyone... Go on.
طيب, as we mentioned, every time where there's a difference, it is highlighted in the hawamish, and this is the hawamish
What's
in the
hawamish?
margins.
Yes.
And this is something that's been done not just pre-modern era, but something that's been done since the time of the Sahaba, actually. Whenever they had awjuh or maybe comments of tafsir or something like that, they would highlight them appropriately. You can have much more professional examples of that.
Can you
later
recite
on
this
in
for us,
Inshallah
brother?
Ta'ala.
Because the disbelievers are going to say you're trying to get away from it just by talking. They're
This is
listening
only
to this right
I'll
now.
recite the whole ayah, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحلوا شعائر الله ولا الشهر الحرام ولا الهدي ولا القلائد ولا آمين البيت الحرام يبتغون فضلا من ربهم ورضوانا. In the Hamish, شعبة بضم الراء والباقون بكسرها.
So how would that
شعبة
sound?
recites ورضوانا as opposed to ورضوانا. This particular example has zero impact on the meaning because it's not changing the sarfi element of the word, meaning it's not changing who's doing what, whether the verb is passive or active, because it's a noun. It's purely dialectical. رضوانا and رضوانا. وإذا حللتم فاصطادوا ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم أن صدوكم عن المسجد الحرام أن تعتدوا. شنآن ابن عامر وشعبة وأبو جعفر بسكون النون والباقون بفتحها. So شنآن, Ibn Amir and Shu'ba and Abu Ja'far all recited Shana'an as Shan'an.
So just to mention here, the example picture or the image from the page of the Mus'haf they were reading from is, I've added that in the original clip, as well as the picture of the beginning, the cover page of the book. So what Sheikh is doing here, as you can see, this is the left-hand side of the Mus'haf, and you can see it starts with the Surah Al-Ma'idah, and on the left-hand side, it's color-coded. Any words that are different in the qira'at, between the qira'at, from this particular, so this is Hafs riwayah there, and then any differences there will be in the Hawamish of the 10, according to Shatibiyya and Durra. So you have two color codings here and there, or Ridwana, and the Sheikh actually read this before, that this was read as Rudwan by certain readers. And the second example is Shana'an, and he just read, okay, who read this as Shan'an? Do you see here any example of a red, coloring about this verb this particular Christian missionary was talking about, yabtaghuna and tabtaghuna? It's not there, because in the 10 qira'at, there is no difference in this word. So when she said she has this book, and the sheikh is reading the same book, and the sheikh is actually hiding the information, sheikh is lying, where is this word that is highlighted? Where is the difference? Because there is no difference within the 10 qira'at of this particular verb, yabtaghun and tabtaghun. What she did instead is found out from the Mu'jam of qira'at, from the an encyclopedia of the qira'at, what other readers may have read within this. But here, the sheikh was given this book, this book that Muhammad Hijab had, clearly, as you can see. Let me just change the camera here. As you can see, it's the same book. And here is the page. If I can show it to you, as you can see, Waridwana and Shana'an is color-coded. So these are the two examples from the beginning of the ayah where the sheikh is reading. There is no verb, yabtaghun or tabtaghun, that are color-coded, because this is not the differences that you find within the 10 qira'at according to Shatibiyya and Durra. So to accuse the sheikh of lying and deceiving is simply a blatant lie and totally what we called an insult to the sheikh's person, saying he has lied about it. So let's just continue to finish this, inshallah, and then I have a few more comments to make.
Has no impact on the meaning so far. There are examples, it's not like we're hiding something. There are examples where the meaning is impacted. Yeah. On those two particular occasions, there is no impact on the meaning. Thank you, brother, once again.
Yeah, so the sheikh clearly talks about here that, of course, there are differences in the qira'at which does impact the meaning, and of course he elaborates there the meanings are complementary. They increase in abundance the meaning from one reading to the other. So he's not simply saying these are just, dialectical or due to accent. So what we've noticed here is this. We have a live stream by the Christian missionaries trying to undermine Islamic scholarship, in which they say, look how the Muslim scholars are lying to the Muslim audience. But in reality, what we found is the real liars, the real Decepticons or these deceivers are those missionaries themselves. Because the book that he was reading from, the page that he was reading from, I've shown it to you here. Clearly, there is no differences within this 10 qira'at of this, because it's not even highlighted in red. So to blame the sheikh or to accuse the sheikh is totally unwarranted, unjustified. So what we would like, me personally, because he being my teacher, and I am really, really hurt in seeing this evil people of bigotry, because of their bigotry, how much the hatred they have, and they go in that length to insult and accuse others. I would demand a public apology for accusing and making this lie against my teacher, against the teacher of Muhammad Hijab and the teacher in that institute, Ibn al-Jazari Institute. A public apology to all the Christians who have been lied to, at least to the very minimum. And if you felt at that time that, when you saw this, you want to tear your hair off, I think you need to take all your hair off by tearing all of them apart because of your lies. Because clearly, this is something dramatic, dramatization that you wanted to make, requires a dramatic act from yourself. Shave your hair off. No, not shave, sorry. Tear all your hair apart. And that individual who was talking about like glasses, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, hundreds and thousands of dollars or pounds were offered to you to replace your glasses that you lost at one point in Speaker's Corner, because someone, rumor says he was a Christian, but I don't know the truth there, someone who slapped you because of your activities there. It looks like to our Christian audience, they demand the money back, or they're saying, are you telling them that it is $10,000 or something, whatever that large amount of money wasn't sufficient, you want more money because you can't see it yourself? You need more glasses? The book that you have at home clearly doesn't have the color coding. The book that the sheikh was reading doesn't have the color coding. So you just made up all of these things to convince your audience that the sheikh is lying, the Muslim scholarship are all lying. So this is a message to the Muslim brothers now and the sisters who consume their material. When I say consume, you engage with them, you listen their podcast or listen to their live stream and watch them and view their videos and so on. Here is what you need to do. These people are so deceptive in a subtle way, unless you had checked it yourself, unless you went to this very, very book they're talking about, unless you went to the very video that they're sourcing the material from and you checked it and you actually confirmed it yourself, you would not even notice the differences because the way they're presenting their rhetoric and their lies. So I would advise personally, having demonstrated again and again from Speaker's Corners, their activities, how they lie and how they deceive, you just only need to find the videos that I have done, exposing their lies. Several of their lies are already available. You don't need to ever again go to their material, because they're not going to be reliable. They're not going to teach you something that will be beneficial to you, because all their agenda is lie to spread their particular agenda. Do you want to do that and totally get confused because of this, because you are not checking yourself, you're not doing the fact checks? Ask yourself, brothers and sisters, how much do you want us to make this kind of response videos exposing the lies? Isn't it enough? We can't just keep on exposing their lies. A liar is already known. They're professional liars. I don't need to make videos by exposing every single lies they make. This is just an illustration, again, just to show you how and what level they go to. They have brought this Arabic-speaking Christian, a native Christian, and yet how they lie. It's unbelievable, the amount of falsehood they can come up with, assuming that no one's going to check, no one's going to bother because you speak Arabic just by yourself. Subhanallah, this is a buhtan. So a public apology is the very minimum you have to do, and then get a life and repent and ask Allah to forgive you. and perhaps the people that you've been misleading, the Christians, the genuine, sincere Christians, they will forgive you. Otherwise, the Christian community are not going to forgive you now because of this, exposition that I've done, the lie that you make against, Muslim personalities. No one's going to forgive you. If you want forgiveness from Allah, forgiveness from God, start repenting right now. So I think this should be enough now. Inshallah ta'ala, we will bring, discussion about the preservation of the Quran from this kind of rhetorics they're uttering in the future, inshallah, just to show you how these people again and again, like the same video that I'm responding to. There's no point going into their lies in terms of how they're lying about it, like how, all the Muslim clerics and Muslim duat, Muslim gangs, they call it, they're saying one thing and actually the reality another thing. We shall see, unless you have not already seen our videos that we have done from Speaker's Corner. So let's leave it there. Until next time, أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.